Okay, fourth grade, welcome to week 4 lessons. So last 3 weeks we've spent talking about some songs from Africa. And so today what we're going to do is move into a new continent, the biggest continent on the planet, Asia. Okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so we can take a peek at the globe and where Africa and Asia are in relation to each other. Okay, welcome to the world. Now, this is what, if you were an astronaut aboard the International Space Station and you were looking down on the Earth, this is pretty much what you would see. You'd see mostly water. Our Earth is about 70% water or so. You'd see all these different continents with different looking land. You've got some mountainous regions. You've got parts that are very foresty, so there's a lot of trees. It's very green. You've got parts that are a lot of desert area, like in Africa. Australia's got a little bit of desert. There's even a small desert here in the United States. And you can see all those different topographical areas. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch the world over to just terrain. So if we take away all the clouds, we strip it down, this is pretty much what the world would look like, okay? You can see mostly water, few islands, major continents. We can see that we have the Arctic up here at the top. Now what I'm going to do is stop the rotation so I can move the Earth around. Okay, we've got Antarctica down here at the bottom. It's covered in ice. It's the only continent that does not have what we call indigenous people. There are people down there in Antarctica, but they're scientists studying this, the ice, and they dig way down deep into the ice to study what had happened in the Earth's past. So now let's scroll up just north of Antarctica. We see Africa. This should look familiar. This large continent here. Africa also includes this island off to the side right there. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to this landmass here known as Asia. Now, Asia takes up pretty much all of this green stuff here, not the white stuff, but the green stuff. It gets probably right about there is where the line would be. And then it comes through here, circles under there, has a lot of these islands. I think about half of this island here before we get down to Australia. So let's zoom in on the Asia map. So now this is a map of Asia, and what's really cool about this map is you can actually click on the different countries. Now, a lot of people, many maps include the Middle East as part of Asia. Some people classify it as its own. Keep in mind, however it's included, it is considered separate in its own way, but it is not its own continent, okay? We still only have 7 continents. For our purpose, to make it a little easier on you guys, we will include the Middle East in the Asia continent, okay? We are going to start out our conversation by talking about China, all right? And you can see, oh, I clicked on it, zoom in on the map here. You can see the border. You've got to the south of China, North and South Korea down here. You go up, you'll see this is all considered Russian Federation. This is another country here just north known as Mongolia. In between Mongolia and China, they have the Gobi Desert. Then we circle around, we got Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. I really don't know how to say all these, a lot of Stan countries. Down south, we've got Nepal. Let's see, Bhutan, all this kind of stuff. Myanmar, Laos, the southern part of the Asia continent, okay? Now, so what we're going to do now is we're going to focus in on Asia itself and to China. Okay, there's another look at the Asia continent. Now, China, as we saw from the map, is the second largest country in Asia. Does anybody think they know what the largest one is? That's right, it's Russia. Russia is massively huge. But keep in mind, a lot of Russia is very, very north, very close to the Arctic. So there's very few people that live in the very northern parts of Russia. Russia stays pretty cold all the time because of where it sits on our planet. But China is located in Eastern Asia. Now, population numbers are going to blow your mind. Population is over 1,300,000,000. Over 1,300,000,000 or 1.3 billion is the population of China. There's a lot of people there. It's a very crowded country, extremely crowded country. The capital of China is Beijing, and we can see Beijing here in the northern. You can kind of see it down here in the map, that little darkened word right there, where it's located. Now, China tracks their ancient history through what they call dynasties, okay? Dynasties are different ruling families. So say you've got a king who has a son, the son takes over when the king passes, and then the next son takes over when that king passes, and that lasts for, let's say, 100, maybe 200 years. And then all of a sudden that family dies out, and then a new family takes over rule of China back in its ancient history. That would be the beginning of a new dynasty, okay? Now, things changed into 1912. On January 1st of 1912, China became known as the Republic of China, and for the first time in its history was led by a president instead of an emperor. Now, in 1949, after Civil War, communism, which is a type of government, had taken over, and China is now known since then as the People's Republic of China. All right, so now these are some musical instruments that you would see featured in Chinese music. You can see a Chinese flute here known as the dizi. This is a xiao, which is a recorder, a Chinese recorder. A little bit different than the recorders that you guys play. We can see a Chinese mandolin, a Chinese banjo, flutes, drums, Chinese violins, which are not played on the shoulder like a violin like you guys are used to, but violins for China and many Asian countries are played in front of them, and they only have 2 strings. And the bow for the Chinese violin is a little bit different in where it sits on the instrument. Now, this is an instrument very similar to a Japanese instrument called a koto. I honestly do not know the name of it in Chinese, but it is played very similar to a koto. And when we talk about kotos in Japan, that will become a lot clearer. So what we're going to do now is we are going to end this, and we're going to jump over here, and we're going to talk about a song that's very famous in China. And this is xiao, which means bamboo flute. So we are going to sing this in English, okay? So don't panic. You don't have to learn the Chinese for this. We're going to sing this in English. After it's sung in English, I will discuss with you what the Chinese sounds like, what the Chinese looks like, and then I will sing it in Chinese, and you can sing along if you choose to, okay? All right, so let's learn this first line here. From the purple straight bamboo. Give that a try. Here we go. From the purple straight bamboo. Here's the next line. I have made a flute for you. Give that a try. Here we go. I have made a flute for you. The next line. Take the bamboo flute, put it to your lips. We're just basically asking them to play the flute that we've made. All right, let's try it. Here we go. Take the bamboo flute, put it to your lips. All right, here's the next line. Play a new and lilting song. Give that a try. Here we go. Play a new and lilting song. Now, lilting just means sweet. That is an English word. It means sweet. Here's the next line. My little one. Try that. Here we go. My little one. Next part. Play a new and lilting song. Your turn. Here we go. Play a new and lilting song. Now, if you look at the bottom line, It's pretty well the same as what you just did, with one exception. Where is the only difference? Look very carefully at the two lines. Where is the difference? Yeah, it occurs on the word song. Very good. Notice the song that we just sang is two twos that are connected together, meaning I'm supposed to hold it for four. So that little looks like a smiley face almost. That's a musical plus sign. So we've got two plus another two, which gives me a total of boom, 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 4. I've got 4 beats, okay? All right. And the reason they do this is because according to our time signature, and if you remember back in 3rd grade when we learned from Maestro Max that this number here on top at our time signature tells us how many beats we can have in between these little thin lines right here, also known as measures, okay? So this 2 tells me I can only have 2 beats per measure. So they wanted this one to last for 4. So that's why they connected 2 of them together to give me a total of 4. But look down here. On this song, not only does it last longer, it's got a whole bunch of notes. So let me do this whole line and then you can try, okay? So listen first. My little one, laying a new and lilting song. Give that a try for me. Here we go. Laying a new and lilting song. Excellent. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn the music on and we're going to sing along, okay? Okay, let's scroll it up to the top. We're going to hit play and sing along with the English, okay? Here we go. Oh, I did hit play. There it goes. Okay, here we go. All right, I want to hear you singing along. Here we go. From the purple straight bamboo, I have made a flute for you. Take the bamboo flute, put it to your lips, play a new and lilting song. My little one, play a new and lilting song. My little one, play a new and lilting song. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what the Chinese looks like, okay? All right, now you can see here it's got 2 lines. This middle line is kind of what the words are written out in Chinese, and this bottom line is, I guess you could call it a pronunciation guide. They've got the words written out as they sound. Okay, so I'm going to say a line and see if you can say it after me. Here we go. Yi gong zu ju ju miao miao. And no, that is not a cat meowing. It's a little different, so don't be giggling at that. I can see some of you guys giggling. All right, so let's try that. Here we go. Yi gong zu ju chu miao miao. All right, now on the next line, song yu ba ba cu guan xiao. Okay, so let's give that a try. Here we go. Song yu ba ba cu guan xiao. And here's our next one. Xiao wei duan jing ko, ko wei duan jing xiao. Try it. Here we go. Xiao wei duan jing ko, ko wei duan jing xiao. Here's the next line. Xiao zhong chui chuo xi shen dao. All right, give that one a go. Here we go. Xiao zhong chui chuo xi shen dao. Excellent. All right, now here's the next line. And this goes for the last line too. Xiao bao bao, yidi yidi xiao huai liao. Try that. Xiao bao bao, yidi yidi xiao huai liao. Okay, so and then of course that would be what the last line is. Now, if you want to try it with me in Chinese, you are more than welcome. If not, you can listen to what the Chinese sounds like with the music. Here we go. 一公主主菊苗苗，送有宝宝出国上。小娃蹲进口，口娃蹲进手，小军吹出西山岛。小宝宝，一粒一粒小外了，小宝宝。一粒一粒小外 And we can hear all of those Chinese instruments playing underneath us as we sing. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move on into another country in Asia. And that country happens to be located right here, this chain of islands off the coast of Asia mainland, known as Japan. So if we come to our map here, we can see Japan right along here on this border. So I'm going to click on it just like we did with China a minute ago, and that's going to load up our Japanese map. Now, I will tell you, Japan is extremely crowded for being such a small little country. You can see all of this is different theme parks and bridges and locations, towns, mountains. Some of the tallest mountains in the world are located in Japan. But it is this chain of islands just off the coast of Korea and China. So let's get into depth about Japan. Okay, Japan. Now, let's see. As we have looked at and talked about a second ago, Japan is the chain of islands off the coast of Asia mainland. For such a small country, it has over 127 million people. And of course, remember, that's give or take 100,000 because these population numbers change daily. The capital is right in the middle of the main island known as Tokyo. And it is by far the most expensive country in the world to live. Now, types of music from Japan include work songs, lullabies, communal music and dance, which is music for worship. They have children's songs. They really big on music class over there. So music is something that kids do from a very young age all the way up to grown ages. And a lot of these children, you can see here, this particular young girl is wearing a traditional Japanese outfit called a kimono. And this is when they're doing these traditional songs and dances and things like that, a lot of the times the females will wear the kimonos and the guys have their outfits that they wear for the traditional culture when they're doing these ancient type of movements and dances and songs. They wear the country's traditional outfits, okay? All right. Now, these are some instruments that we would see featured in Japanese music. You can see we have a Japanese flute here, some Japanese string instruments. This would be a Japanese violin, very similar to a Chinese violin. And then you can also see the traditional Japanese drum. Japanese taiko drumming is very, very important to the Japanese culture. And we're going to talk more about the taiko drumming in just a minute. And you can see here, this long instrument here with the strings on them, this is known as a koto. Very similar to the instrument I pointed out on the China's slides a little while ago. This instrument is played with all 10 of your fingers. And a lot of times they'll have these I guess you could say guitar plucks on their fingers. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks like this little thing that slips on the tip of your finger, and it's like you've added a little fingernail to the bottom there so that you can better pluck the strings and strum them and create the different sounds on the koto. It's actually a very, very pretty instrument to listen to. So now we're going to talk about a very popular children's game song that they play in Japan called Se Se Se. It's extremely similar to a game that you guys